All right, so this is obviously in response to Ahnald's video. I'm sure you already watched it. Since my YouTube channel has basically died because of lack of attention, haven't been given it that CPR because I've been working and stuff like that, I'm going to say things that no one has said publicly, or no one has been entirely truthful about in regards to a lot of things he talked about. Now, I didn't take any notes, and I don't honestly remember everything he said, so we're going to raw dog this right now. First and foremost, his initial point of dodge and deflection, obviously that's horseshit. That should not be in the fucking game. I don't think anyone will ever disagree with that. Going back way past, like prior to Datacrons, even at the advent of money-based matchmaking, I was unimaginably pissed off. And the reason I was not because it would ruin my Grand Arena experience, because I realized quite quickly that by the time money-based matchmaking came around, I was far enough along. I was about 4.5 million, 5 million, something like that. I was far enough along to where it wouldn't really matter, because the game has always existed in this like weird class divide. It used to be, pre and post level 85 because you can do GHE and shit like that. And then there's obviously the spenders and the non-spenders. And then Conquest came out and all this other shit, and now it's like pre and post 4 million GP and all this other nonsense. And then they added Datacrons. Now it's pre and post Datacrons, or uses Datacrons or doesn't use Datacrons. So there's so many different barriers, and all of them, in my humble opinion, are stupid. The money-based matchmaking, like that, could have fixed it a million years ago. And the problem with the matchmaking system is twofold. Yes, this has been hashed out, but to get to my later arguments, I have to like build from the ground up, so bear with me. I'm sorry. It's impossible for new players, right? And it's impossible for new players because, largely because of people like me, to be honest. Now, this is a rare case because the last 6 or so months, as you guys know, it's just been absolute dog shit for me. And I hate 3v3, so, I'll do things like forget to play 3v3 Grand Arena and get 0 banners and not even do one battle because honestly, you're just too tired at the end of the day and you forget that it's a thing and blah, blah, blah. Like, so people like me who are either too busy, too stupid, or too lazy for 3v3, I play my 5v5s, I promise. I play my 5v5s because I love Grand Arena. I play my 5v5s, but I don't play any of my 3v3s. People like that drop, and it ruins the early game experience. Super easy. They could have put up barriers years and years ago to fix this. So that's been a problem since money-based matchmaking. The pre and post 4 million, like the game, I'm sure you guys are well aware, is entirely different if you hit some arbitrary threshold to be able to do Proving Grounds and to be able to do Hard Conquest. It makes absolutely no sense. When Hard Conquest came out, like on alt accounts that I use for testing and stuff like that, because I have like 40 of them, shout out to you guys. CG, if you're listening, we're not sharing accounts. But you could, we were ripping Hard Conquest to completion. That's sounded kind of weird, but like way before, like it would have been so easy prior to 4 million GP. Like they wouldn't let us, but it would have been so easy. There are accounts that are pre 4 million GP that could have easily gone through the entirety of Hard Conquest. There's no doubt in any of our minds that was possible, but it's just an arbitrary block to get you to, I don't know, buy the fucking Hyperdrive bundle or something. And then Datacrons came out. And some behind the scenes for you real quick while I fidget with one of my many fake guns. Many moons before Datacrons came out, there was a massive leak about the Datacrons. The entire community, or at least every single content creator on God's green earth, knew about Datacrons vast, like way before they came out. And it got so bad. It got so bad. It got so bad that there was fucking... there was conspiracies afoot by multiple people. Not people I'm good friends with, but there was conspiracies afoot because of how atrocious of a decision it was. Now, I've heard some rumblings here and there that there was this ulterior Datacron motive, but that's like conspiracy on top of conspiracy, and I'm not going to peddle that nonsense because that's not productive in any way, shape, or form. But needless to say, it took 0 brain cells for people to realize that it would be a very bad decision for Datacrons to come to the game. And this leads into a larger problem that CG has had progressively, that a lot of the decisions they make are very weirdly anti-capital games, and not anti-capital games in like a fiscal sense where it's a bad monetary decision, because I think they're very good at making money and I'll never take that away from them. But insert meme of the old Kanye, the old CG, and this might be a bit nostalgic, was, for their credit, very, very good at balancing. While the difference between whales and non-whales was drastic, because it's a mobile game, and mobile games exist for one reason, that is for you to microscopically transact, it wasn't really ever a problem, because GAC was based on what your account looked like. I was hitting Kyber, I was getting super high places in Kyber every single GAC since literally my first GAC, because the divisions were, I think they actually switched divisions and leagues. I think they actually switched what they mean. But whatever it was based on your GP. So it didn't matter if you were a 6 million GP whale or a 6 million GP free-to-play player. Now, I don't know if 6 million GP free-to-play was possible back then, but just assume it was, for argument's sake. Or a 3 million GP whale who's been playing for 4 days, or a 3 million GP free-to-play player. The game was entirely about how well you crafted your roster. And to this day, it still is, thankfully. But there wasn't really a huge problem other than Squad Arena, which, of course, was the large way to make crystals, so it was still a big problem for progression. But the game was so perfectly balanced. It was actually probably... It was probably so balanced. It was so fair, let's just say. It was so fair that it was unfair. And that's why I wasn't entirely mad about money-based matchmaking. What I mean by that is, if you were a good player, and this is the only reason my YouTube channel exists, is because I went so fucking, like, hyper, I don't know if you guys know this about me, but, like, occasionally I'll find something and then I will, like, hyper obsess to the point of, like, the detriment of the rest of my life. Like, the hyper obsession with this has caused me so much irreversible damage in my life from caring about Galaxy of Heroes too much. But if you had that obsession, or you at least listened to someone like me who had that obsession, was telling you what to do, you had an insurmountable advantage in the game. The reason my YouTube channel exists, shout out Fort Mort, I was a big Fort Mort fan, he had like this streak going, and I was like, fuck, once I hit 100 wins in a row, I was like, I should start, making YouTube. What the fuck? Why is no one talking about? You can so specifically craft a roster to be better than everyone. And that's why I wasn't entirely mad about money-based matchmaking. Because I never needed to look at my opponent. I never needed to scout. I just knew that if they were anywhere near me, and they had to be because that's how GAC worked, I could win, and there was nothing anyone could do about it. I never needed to care about GAC, and it got kind of boring, I'll be honest. And so with the advent of money-based matchmaking, they gave us this skill rating, this promise that you could do some great things. And if you're past a certain threshold, it's pretty great. I've faced people within 1 million GP of me 5 to 10 times since money-based matchmaking has happened, aside from like the first week where it was like weirdly everyone was like within 10,000 GP of each other, which I think was just some weird byproduct of how they set it up to start. And it's never been a problem. I've never gone into a GAC and known that there was no hope since money-based matchmaking happened. But the reason that it's still a problem is because they keep forgetting about the people who aren't at this magical point of the game being balanced. Anyone who's not 5 million galactic power, it just gets absolutely fucked. I know so many people unsubscribe or don't like my content because I say bad words, so I'm going to refrain from saying what you guys all know is in my mind. But it's just not a pleasant experience. An easily avoidable experience, yes, but a not pleasant one. And that leads me back to Ahnald's original point of datacrons, is at a certain part of the game, the mid game, I usually, at this point, like, I've broken up the game into like 4 million GP segments. It's like 0 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 12, because the upper echelon of people have progressed so far that like 8 to 12 is just like, you know, that's the end game now. I know 5 years ago, I know if like Mobile Gamer or like Cubs Van Han or like Urs came back, they'd be like, holy shit, 8 million GP, that's mega end game. What the fuck? But the game is advanced and there's so many new characters. Like 8 to 12 million GP is that's just end game at this point, right? But like, there's a certain point, like if you're not at that point, it takes away the upper echelon of competitiveness. So if GAC is this like time, okay, my camera is reversed, so this is going to be kind of hard for my monkey brain to do. But if like this early third is 1 to 4, you're fucked, because the lazy people like me who don't do 3v3 Grand Arena are just going to absolutely eat your breakfast. This middle part is like 4 to 8. This is like perfect. You can punch up multiple million GP only if you've built a good roster and you've watched a lot of APGAINS videos. There's a little bit of room for skill, because there's not like 90% of this game's skill is building rosters. The other 10% is actually playing the match. There's like a little bit of skill, and then some people are using datacrons, and it's like perfect. And then you progress into the end game. It's not a huge problem for me. My opponents are still like, yeah, they're 12 million GP, but people just don't like datacrons, so they're not using them. But if you progress past a certain point, like say you're Calvin Awesome, for instance. Calvin Awesome's like a day one free-to-play player, like just giga grinder. He's up, you know, he's got a huge account. Good for him, right? He gets to the point where like there's only so far he'll ever be able to climb, because they're adding these like bullshit mechanics that he just can't possibly compete with. It's even going so far as to affect, I mean, think about it. It's going so far as to affect Ahnald. And I know so many of you guys love him and so many of you guys hate him, probably just because he's, you know, the same reason people hate me is because, well, people hate me because I'm fucking annoying and kind of stupid. I think people hate him just because they're tired of hearing him over and over again, because he's been so popular for so long and so loved for so long, and people are like, oh, I'm gonna be a contrarian, oh, look at me, I'm so fucking huge, my cock is so huge. But I mean, it's no secret that he spent, what, like, at this point, it's gotta be like, I don't know. I think last time I remember from years ago, he's like 60 grand. It's what, I'm just gonna throw out a random, let's say he spent 75 grand on the game. Like what percentage of people would shoot themselves if I told them they woke up tomorrow and they had spent 75 grand on this game? Like, it's absolutely ridiculous how much money that is. And even at that point, the game becomes unfun because they've opened up this fucking can of wormholes that, I'm going to be honest with you, like, a couple of particular people were like, hey, Capital Games, I have all this money that my dad is giving me, and I want to spend it. Give me some way to be better than Meeple so I can spend it. Like, that's not what makes the game fun. That's not what the old Capital Games would have done. Yes, you can throw Jedi Knight Revan power creep at me and all this other bullshit, but, like, in the context of Grand Arena, which is the entire game, I'm sorry for all the people who love fucking territory battles or whatever, but Grand Arena is the fucking game. The only thing that they can't fuck up for people to want to play this game is Grand Arena. And I know that with the advent of money-based matchmaking, they were able to kind of hold on to that profitability they had when there was more people playing. I get that. It makes sense. Like, I understand. I like money too. Money's great. Oh my god, money's so great. It's just money, 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 money. Right? It's so awesome. I get it. I love it too. But I think they have to remember that there is this like weird fine line that they have to tread. Where they can't fuck you too much. I used to do this. Okay, so when I was young, I learned something in school, maybe like 3rd grade. I don't remember why, but like we were doing some project. And it was like, I can't remember. I think it was like the 70% rule. It's like, I think they did it on mice. Like they had mice fight each other or some shit. I can't remember. I was a little child. And if one mouse or one whatever won more than 70% of the time, The other ones would just not play. They would give up. And I've used this a lot in my life because I don't know if you guys can tell, but I've sacrificed a lot of my life to play a lot of video games and to be very good at them. So when I would play like For Honor or, Search and Destroy or like fucking whatever against friends, I would have to like strategically lose on purpose to give them just a semblance of hope so that they would keep playing with me, because then you just run out of people to play with. And I've kind of transformed this into my life as an adult, where like you can only get fucked so many times before you need to do just a little bit of fucking so that you don't give up entirely on life. And I think CG could do a very good job of remembering that deflection and dodge datacrons, they might be fucking us just a little too, they might be fucking us just a little too much. They have to remember that if we don't get to fuck 30% of the time, we're gonna give up and no one's busting nuts. That's all I'm trying to say. This fucking 16-minute video has boiled down to I will even go so far as to say that I don't really, and I know this is something that Ahnald was criticizing and I accept it. I feel like I'm a little bit apathetic to CG at this point, especially because I'm a big Heroes of the Middle-earth player and they're not doing anything with that game. I will accept the existence of datacrons, mostly because they don't affect me that much. All right, I'm selfish. They don't affect me that much. I'll be honest, they don't affect most people that much. They affect people who spend a lot of money, obviously. But I don't spend a lot of money because I'm super poor, so it doesn't really matter. So I will accept their existence to a point. I will accept 70% on the dot. But when dodge and deflection take that into 71%, that's when people go on fucking 17-minute rants in response to 18-minute rants that people thought should have been 6-hour rants that come from comments in Reddit posts and Discord messages and just all of this anger that's bubbling up. Sorry, I just realized that I completely threw my life away for this game, and now I'm kind of regretting it. All I'm asking is just to be fucked a little bit less. And I'm sure many of your girlfriends and wives could agree with me. Thank you. Thank you for watching. As always, I love you, and I'll see you later.